Jimmy, this is MC
Everybody, welcome. We want to welcome the fabulously talented and incredibly beautiful Rachel True to the Jimmy Star Show. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Before we get started, let me introduce my cool, outrageous man about town co-host who just had surgery, so he's a little not as quite as wild as normal, but that's Mr. Ron Russell.
How do you do, my dear? And I love your sisters.
Thank you, sir. Listen, Ron Russell, I hope you're doing okay after the surgery.
Well, I have 3 or 4 oxycodone in me and 2 Tylenol so I could do the show. And still when I had 2 centimeters of skin removed from the inside of my cheek. And they put it in my penis where my urethra. I couldn't pee, so they had to rebuild it.
Oh, they rebuilt it with your own skin cells? That's kind of amazing that they can even do that.
Well, you know what he said? The doctor said to me, when they perform the surgery for women, they take skin out of her cheek, too, because it's the same as her, was it labia?
Labia.
Labia. So when
We're gay, in case you didn't.
Wait, so the good part is, if a girl goes on a date, she can open her legs and say, kiss me on the cheek.
Well, I guess you can say a few things, too, now that you're good to go. Well, I wish you a quick recovery.
Thank you, darling. Another 2 weeks and I'll be fine.
We've also got the man behind the boards, Mr. Chad Murphy, so say hello to Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Rachel is beautiful. Welcome to the show.
I want Chad around all the time.
You got it.
I love her speaking voice.
And we also have a chat room full of people, so if you could say hello to everybody in the chat room.
Hi, everybody. I hope you have some questions for me.
We have a special request. There's a guy in the chat room. He's a really cool guy. He's from England. His name is Dave. And his Twitter handle is StarsNowUK. If you could just give him a special hello, Dave, because he's been posting how gorgeous and how much he loves you all over Twitter for every day.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much. You realize I'm probably your mom's age, but thanks.
He's older than he's like my age. So.
Okay, then I don't feel so bad. That's my new thing lately. It's like I'm your mom's age when I get hit on by young guys.
So that's a MILF. So you're a MILF.
Without the mom part, sure.
Okay. So I have to say that
without kids.
You and I are the same age, and I look old, and you look like you're still in your 20s. So I was looking at all the pictures of you online and all the remarks that everybody says, and it's true what they say: black don't crack, because you look absolutely gorgeous.
That's not the case. If she were married to me, she'd look old too.
Here's the thing: I agree with that. If I had kids or was married to anyone, I would probably look older. But the other thing is, because people have been talking about my age a lot, which as a woman is a little weird. I'm an actor, so to have people constantly talking about my age isn't helping me get any jobs, people. So it's awesome if you want to say nice things, but you don't have to keep putting the number up, because Hollywood is a very long memory when it comes to age. But I take really good care of my health and my body. I had a health thing a few years back, and that kind of forced me to pull it together because I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I looked super duper old and unhealthy, and I just kind of really pulled it together, and now I look kind of like I think I should at this particular juncture in my life.
Well, Hollywood's ridiculous because they said after 40, who wants you? That's ridiculous. Because a truly great actress such as Betty Davis went on for 50, 60 years in the business. So if you're like Meryl Streep, she's past 40 like 30,000 years ago, and they still want her. So I don't believe that Hollywood 40 thing. The Hollywood 40 thing is, if you got work on your knees, and that's how you get work, is being on your knees, you're not going to last more than 40 because no old producer wants any chick on her knees that's 40. He wants them 21. Then you're really out of the business. But that's bullshit. I know plenty of actresses, good friends, good actors. Look, Angelina Jolie, I know her, and she's 40 plus.
She's not over 40, is she?
Oh, yes. Sure she is. She's my daughter Deirdre's best friend. They went to school together.
Oh, gotcha.
El Rodeo. And my daughter's 47. No, Deirdre's 40. I'm sorry, Deirdre's 40, and Angie's 40 also, because they both were in the same class. And
he has another daughter who's 47, so we just got him stuff. And Ron and I, in case Ron,
I'm 50, by the way.
Yes,
Ron, you look fabulous.
Ron just turned 76, and we've been married for 4 years, and we're the only gay syndicated television hosts like on the planet. And
no, congratulations, by the way. You guys have quite a following, and that's not an easy thing to accomplish. And I give you huge props because everything is so youth-oriented in today's world, and there's room for grown-ups like you guys and me to have shows and have voices and have opinions. Because one thing I always say is it's weird that advertising is all targeted at youth. I understand it's to lock them in while they're young and get the brand loyalty. But we theoretically have more spending money now as adults than we ever had as 20-somethings.
What makes our show work is what's happening in Hollywood right now. Pay attention to all the movies you go to. There's a 75-year-old star or co-star working with a 35-year-old star or co-star, like Robert De Niro.
Like The Intern, when he did...
Because what they're doing now, they want to get all the audiences into the theater. They just don't want kids anymore. They want the old bags, too. So if they shove out there like a Meryl Streep, the old ones go. And if they put an Angelina Jolie, the young ones go. So if they tie them together, everybody goes. What makes our show work is I'm an outrageous 76-year-old gay guy. And Jimmy's a very, very good businessman. And anyway, the chemistry works. The crazy and the sane. And young kids think I'm the coolest thing in the world. I get fan mail saying, I wish you were my dad. My dad is such a stiff. Or, I wish I could be like you when I'm your age, like as if I'm a monument. But that's okay. I don't mind.
What's the secret to your fabulous head of hair? That's what I want to know.
It's what is it? Sperm.
Whoa.
What? I don't even want to know what you do. Is it the ejection of the sperm? Is it the putting the sperm on the hair? I know it's protein.
If you put a lot of sperm on your head, you can comb your hair and it stays. The only thing is you get some crazy gay people wanting to lick your hair. So you have to beat them off.
And let's go back though. Okay, since you did talk, we're going to talk about your movies and your career and stuff too. But since you do so many things, and people probably don't even know that you do a lot of these things, you mentioned that you took a little break from Hollywood, even though I see you're working a lot again now on your IMDb. At least it's so stuff. But you said you got healthy, and so I should tell everybody that now you're kind of also, besides acting and a tarot reader, you're a healthy lifestyle advocate, and you have a website just for that called sometruethings.com.
Yeah, you can also get to it from racheltrue.com, my name, but I just chose Some True Things because I realized when I went through my own health thing, I really had to educate myself. One of the best doctors I encountered said, listen, we only know about 10% of what's going on with the body as a doctor. So it's really important that people advocate for themselves and know what questions to ask when they go in there. So that's why I put the information up on my website because, for example, the reason I ended up taking time off was because I was misdiagnosed and put on some medication that didn't serve me. And I kind of lost about a year of my life going, why do I feel so bad? So once I got off, they put me on antidepressants. It turned out I had a hormone imbalance that led to fibroids, which is a really common women uterine thing. It's the #1 reason women have miscarriages and hysterectomies. Basically, it's not really talked about a lot, and one of the symptoms of having an estrogen dominance, so too much estrogen, not enough progesterone, just like men can have not enough testosterone to balance everything out. One of the symptoms is you're a little kooky and you're crying, and so they put me on a Klonopin, which even Stevie Nicks says is literally the hardest drug to get off of. I got off all that cold turkey and was like, wait a second, I'm not depressed, I'm not any of these things, I'm not even hysterical. I went to a doctor and she said, yes, you have the hormones of a postpartum woman, meaning, because you're two gay men, you don't even know what that means, do you? What that means
I had
two daughters.
I had the very same problem. When I went to the doctor, he said, ma'am, a penis has grown on you.
It was probably just a really large clit, just FYI.
Probably, but the doctor wanted to remove it, and I said, no, leave it, because when people tell me to go fuck myself, now I can.
So basically what I did was, once I got my hormones balanced, which, by the way, a bioidentical plant-source pill, so no chemicals, no synthetics, because women have had problems once they get older. If they take synthetic hormones, you can, end up with breast cancer or problems. So I do a bioidentical plant-source pill, and it literally changed my world. I can think about my life pre-figuring out I had a hormone thing and post, because you don't get a belly full of fibroids like I had. I had a very severe case of them. They were wrapped around my spine. I could barely walk. I was 60 pounds heavier by the end of this surgery. So basically I had to take time off from Hollywood, because nobody likes a fat middle-aged chick unless you already started out as a fat middle-aged chick. That was not
Very happy though that you worked it all out.
Don't you think that great sex cures everything?
Well, I think if you have a big hormone imbalance like I had, great sex won't cure it, but getting the hormone imbalance fixed leads to having great sex again. So yes, I'm with you. The great sex is amazing and really healthy thing that most people should enjoy. At least I hope they enjoy. Wait, let me ask you guys a question, because you guys are my age and grown-ups. Today's I was talking to a bunch of millennials, and they were talking about how they've only had 1 or 2 sex partners. Some of them have a lot, but this group I was talking to, they've only had 1 or 2, and they think that having like 5 or 6 is a lot. And I was like, no comment. I mean, because I was never a super promiscuous chick or anything like that, but we had a little bit of fun, my generation, even though we were coming up in a time of AIDS, which I think really shaped Gen X, which is what I am. I believe our sexuality was really shaped by the fact that we were, as soon as we were ready to have sex, it was like you could die. So I feel like it's an odd generation, Gen X, with our relationship with sex.
That's looking at it from the straight viewpoint.
Fair enough that I'm a straight girl.
If you're gay, you're a tramp from 16 till death. We learned about sex way before the straight people did. We had multiple partners when we were 17, 18.
That's not true for everybody.
By 20 years old, most of us have had 300 or 400 different numbers. Well, my friend Liz Lauren, who we talk about all the time, she beats the record. She has about 3,000.
She's in the chat room. Her husband's in the chat room.
She has 3,000. Well, let me tell you, she has 3,000. Has had over 3,000 lovers. If she goes naked and the wind comes, forget it. She goes like a kite. The wind goes right up her snatch and takes into the sky.
Now, I think, let's go back. Okay, I don't think 6 people is a lot of people at all.
No, 6 people.
6 people to me, that's nothing. I'm
six people is rehearsal before you get to the number you want.
I had, first of all, I was a late bloomer because I dated girls until I was like 22 and I was out of college. So I dated girls in college, and I had sex with lots of girls in college. And so then when I got out of college, like I've had multiple quickies.
In other words, he's
now I'm actually in a monogamous relationship.
Yeah, but Jimmy's a whore. He told me. Guess how many? He said he's had over 1,000 different men. I said not possible. 1,000 different men, and I believe him because he's a tramp.
Here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. For someone like me, when I hit, the age of consent or getting ready to explore my sexuality, there was such big stereotypes. So, like back in the 80s, like all I heard from, I went to New York University, NYU, and a lot of white people came up to me and said, black girls are really crazy. They fuck anything. So I kind of went out of my way not to be honest. Because I also saw, and I'm coming from a straight woman's perspective, not a gay man's, obviously, but I personally thought when I was younger, that it was really easy. It's really easy to shove your tits up and get laid. I didn't see any challenge in that, to be honest. Like, as a woman, it's very easy to go find a penis to stick in a hole. It just wasn't, I love sex, but I don't like it with tons of different people and strangers. So I'm a pretty monogamous girl.
You got to want what you want. A lot of my friends have said to me, you've had a lot of lovers, a lot of boyfriends. You're really a whore. I said, no, I'm not. I was raped every time.
Oh, no. First of all, you guys slut shame yourself, so that takes care of that aspect of it.
I have to say too, though, because I think that you're incorrect. I don't think all women can jack up their tits and get sex. You happen to be incredibly gorgeous and beautiful, so it's easy for you to go and get. But I've seen
that's very kind of you. But here's the truth: I was never known as some pretty girl. I was kind of the cute, kooky girl, and that's what I worked as for most of my career. Even the last TV show I did, I was not the pretty girl. I was the oddball, kooky one. I do believe, though, that having gone through that health thing and come out the other side, I actually feel more attractive and more comfortable in myself than I ever did when I was younger. So when people say to me, oh, you're so pretty now, you're attractive, I think that's a byproduct of healthy living, but also being comfortable in my own skin finally.
Well, people tell me I'm much better looking now, and I tell them, here's my plastic surgeon's number. Call him and thank him.
But no, that's the other thing I want to mention, you guys. Like but the part of my mission on sometruethings.com, my website, is to say how to feel good in your body naturally. So like I've never done anything. I'm 1,000 years old, but I don't even think I've had a facial. Maybe I've had one in my life. That's it. I only just started taking care of that stuff recently, but I'm not necessarily against plastic surgery or things for other people, but my goal was to see how can I be in this body that I was given and age comfortably and naturally without fillers or Botox or blah, blah, blah. So people are like, what's your secret? I'm like, drink water. And they're like, shut up.
No, cream. I spoke earlier about it. My mother never put soap on her skin, never washed her face with soap. Believe it or not, she washed her face with olive oil.
I bet she did, and I bet her skin is gorgeous.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, your skin is amazing, by the way. Amazing. And you're white.
People. There's another saying, if you're black, you don't crack. Well, I say if you do a lot of crack, you don't crack.
No, here's the thing. This is a line from the sitcom I did. Black don't crack, but it does sag. So people think it's like a free ride if you have brown skin or you're Italian. Is that your background? Yes, you look like an Italian man.
I do olive oil facials. I also do hair. I put olive oil in my hair. And
I love olive oil in my hair.
Yeah, there's a black line that just came out because black people. You're black. Black people's hair is brittle sometimes. It breaks.
Very dry. Yes.
It breaks. Now they have a new product that's olive oil. And I said, for Christ's sake, I've been putting it on my head for centuries. This process is like $50, $80, whatever. Screw that. Go out and get an $8 of extra virgin, dump it on your head, put a cap on it with a heating lamp, and your hair the next day is soft, lustrous, and will not crack.
Listen, he just explained to you the exact truth of what to do with your hair, because that's another thing I go over on the website. It's kind of like you can spend a lot of money on face products and hair products if you really want to. But the truth is, I just thought, what did I do when I was super young and had no money? I used olive oil. I heated olive oil up in a pan. I did exactly what you just said, and I still do that because it's super cheap. It's super inexpensive. Even if you get the extra virgin kind, it's still so much cheaper than a $60 treatment at the salon. One thing I do though, obviously, is dye the heck out of my hair because I started getting a gray streak when I was 16. Literally, 16 years old, I had a pretty big gray streak. Now it's like, oh. So I go lighter and lighter every year because it covers the gray easier.
But if, people have headaches sometimes from tight scalps. They don't realize that their scalp shrinks from bleaching. Because I was a hairdresser for years. I was a colorist also, technician who did corrective coloring. And women would come in and say, I have such temple headaches and stuff. Sure, you're using 40 volume on your head and you've shrunk the cells. Now go home, I said, and put olive oil on your head. And the olive oil absolutely relieved the tight scalp and the headaches went away. So olive oil is a miracle drug. But I must admit, I also use that bitch, Lisa Lauren's products.
From DMK
Cosmetics.
They're in the chat room.
Nobody's paying me, so I'm not mentioning any names of what I use.
No, they're just good friends of ours.
Let me tell you, I should get a picture of this old whore and put it up next week. She's 150 and she looks 30. No, I'm serious. He's put more shit on his face than anybody could imagine. Every one of his products, he's forever just putting it on Facebook. Another crap he's putting on and more. He keeps inventing all this great stuff. And I do use it, and I'm not lying. It does. So the cream that I like, I don't even know what they're called. I call it shit, by the way. I need to order more of that shit that makes my pores. And he knows what I'm talking about because I have no idea what his names of his product are. There's the one that cleanses and does some shit to the pores, and it goes in the skin and it puffs it out. So, like if I'm doing a movie or a TV show or an interview, I use it and I look good for about 6 or 8 hours. And of course, Dorian Gray's portrait becomes me.
I think my portrait is sitting in an attic next to yours. But
now that I talk about Danae's products, the bitch should give me some money because, it's a plug for her. She won't. She'll go out and buy red bottom high heels for $3,000. Give me a lunch, that tramp. By the way, she's a drag queen who I'm talking about.
But the other thing I want to tell people who, like, if people are listening and they're trying to figure out their own hair stuff, if you just look at the ingredients on your favorite products, you'll notice a through line. It's glycerin, it's castor oil, it's olive oil, it's shea butter. You can make all that at home yourself if you're on a super budget. If you're not on a budget, then go buy the products you're talking about. Seriously.
And buy from Canada, not from the United States. Get a friend in Canada to send you the Preparation H. The Canadian one does shrink bags, but the American one, for some reason, doesn't do it.
You don't think the American one shrinks the bags? Because this is, by the way, for anyone listening, this is an old secret. We use it on film sets. We put it Preparation H under the eyes if people come in super puffy, and it does shrink the tissue.
My friend Paul, who's Canadian, I asked him to send me a tube, and he did. It worked 20,000 times better than the American one. And I researched it. It's because the American one, the FDA didn't pass some of the chemicals that are in there.
Oh, gotcha. Which, by the way, sidebar too, you guys know I do a podcast with Alec Mappa. Have you ever had him on? He's a gay Asian comedian. He's very popular. He's a Filipino guy. We have a podcast called Nooner where we're very naughty. So I kind of like that you guys get a little naughty too.
I never use vulgarity. I despise
Yeah.
You can send me his information. We'll invite him on.
No, you have to.
It's great.
I really get upset when people use the fuck word. I really think it's horrible.
Yeah. No, that's the hardest part about moving to California was realizing, because I'm a New Yorker, that people in California don't use like fuck or words like that as adjectives, you know? Like, we use them in a sentence to the fucking store. Like, it was horrible or swearing to me, and people were looking at me like I was a horrible person.
Oh, you know what I love when they speak Californian and the men want to get dirty? I was in a room once years ago with a bunch of guys, and he said, oh, I was on the tennis court, and I saw this girl. She was sitting there, and I shot her beaver, and I almost threw up. He shot a beaver. What's with this jerk? And they don't curse in California.
No, they really don't. Although I will say one of the great benefits to California is we are much more health conscious out here. We take better care of ourselves physically a little bit than some of my East Coast, you know.
That's bullshit, too. I lived in California for 1,000 years. Everybody would get up 6 o'clock in the morning, jog, have all good grain food to eat for breakfast. For lunch, they'd go to the Ivy and they'd have a little salad. And in the evening, they'd get all dressed up, go to a club and do ecstasy.
I didn't say they didn't do drugs. I just said they ate really healthy and they worked out. I mean, but you know what? I've not been around anyone who does ecstasy or drugs like that because it's not my thing. And that's not to say I didn't listen, I went to NYU. I did a lot of drugs in college when you should do a lot of drugs. I just don't do them as a grown-up because I like, being cognizant. But I am a proponent of marijuana legalization. I think it's great. I think it's a great thing for anxiety and has different medicinal uses, and it's a plant. So I'm glad to see that that's actually...
But it's dangerous if you're driving. That's my only objection to it. Like, I don't like drugs. I don't do drugs. And right now I'm on those oxycodone, and I don't know what I'm doing or saying half of the time. I think it's a very unpleasant feeling to be loaded. Now, all my friends in California and New York that are listening to the show are saying, he's so full of shit!
Yeah, I'm going to say, if you're the age you are, you've done some drugs, sir. I'm just thinking... You might have been in some Studio 54 action, having a good time, doing a little blow.
I hung out in 54. Yes, I did.
Of course you did.
But wait a second. I never did drugs, and I swear to that. I did medical drugs, but I never did. Took a trip. I never did LSD. I never did ecstasy. I don't do cocaine. I did it once, and my nose bled, and it was horrible. The only thing I do is like a little bit of Valium and shit like that.
Gotcha.
Oxycodone and a little of something.
You only do the oxycodone because you're sick. You don't.
No, I only do it when I can get it.
Yeah, right. He's lying. He's just making that up. We're drug free.
No, you know what?
Hang on. We have to move because we only have a few minutes left.
No, I want more of her.
I know. Well, we'll get her to come back again. But
no, I want her.
I just want you to know one of my favorite ex-boyfriends is a lovely Italian man who I met at NYU who went to Eton, so he's very posh, and he now owns an olive grove in Italy. Campo Lisio is his brand, and so I feel simpatico with you.
There you
Well,
go.
I love people. First of all, I'm a New Yorker, Brooklyn, and you're a New Yorker, so right there we bonded. And secondly, I like people with your outgoing personality. You're not afraid to reveal who you are. You're not living in that bullshit world of Hollywood where I have to be clean cut, perfect, and wonderful, and meanwhile you're a mass murderer. You know.
No, listen, I mean, I think my thing has always been that's why I started again the health centric website. It's like, okay, how can I be comfortable in my own skin? And for a long time as an actor, I really tried to fit in a box of what I thought this is what an actor should be, do, look like. And I was always tripping up and always on an outsider. So now that I've accepted that I'm like a weirdo outsider, like black girl who speaks this way and acts this way, I'm so much more comfortable with myself that I feels really good. I think most people fear turning 40 or 50, right? They're scared of it, but the truth is, you kind of come into your own.
Right.
Well, actually, when you get to be my age, you don't give a shit about what people think, what people say, or what people do. You just go through life doing your own thing and saying, step out of my way. I have a little bit of life left to live, and I don't intend living it worrying about you and your neurotic insecurities or prejudices or stupidity. And that's
Absolutely.
what to be my age. And life then becomes a beautiful thing. Pity we don't learn it at 19. We worry about a pimple on our face and what is everybody going to say about it. So I'm not going to go to the dance. You know?
We're so self-obsessed when we're in our 19 or 20s, you know, that age. Although I do think if I had like my 19-year-old body, I could take over the world, like literally, by this mind, with that body. But that's why they separated. That's why you can't have it all, or we
But
don't.
you know something? I have a 76-year-old body, and Jimmy will tell you this. No matter where we go, somebody's always hitting on me. Young men, and they don't want it because of money. They find me attractive.
You're a very attractive man. Look at you.
I don't know why they hit on me, and they do. I get
Because
hit.
you're very attractive.
You know, by women, man, it doesn't make any difference.
No, I think it's because if you stay slender and you take care of yourself, there's a weird attraction for a 100-year-old bag. There's something weird about it. Just like old ladies that are lifted and dolled up and they're 90, a lot of young guys find them fascinating and sexy.
Listen, I get hit on by 20-year-olds, literally 22, 23-year-olds all the time.
Yeah.
But you hit on something really important that I do believe, for me personally, whatever anyone else wants to do is fine, but weight has a really big impact on aging. I think that's true. I think, you know, if we are obese, we tend to age a little harder. It's a little harder on the body.
Oh, fat don't work anywhere.
No, listen, again, some people are super comfortable at different weights. I was very uncomfortable. When I weighed a lot more, I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And also because I had an estrogen problem, fat stores estrogen. So that was no bueno for someone like me to feel healthy in my body. But also I really looked much more closer to my real age and even older when I had 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds on me. There's no way to not look like a matron at that weight.
The doctors that deal with obese women will tell you.
And men.
Well, mostly women. Here's my point.
No, and men.
Men that marry extremely obese women are looking for a servant and a mother and someone to take care of them. Men that marry a beautiful, streamlined girl want to get laid and have a romance. That's the difference. So I don't know how true it is, but this is what doctors claim. There are a lot of obese women you see with beautiful, thin, young, handsome men. You know that. Those men are with them because they know she's not going to cheat, she's not going to run around, and she's so hard up for dick that she'll do anything.
Well, now listen, I can't agree or speak on any of that because I can't speak for those women. I know that some women feel really great and empowered at any weight. That was just not the case for me, but I understand why some women do, because when I am super skinny, which I'm not right now, I'm about 10, 15 more than I'd like to be, but I'm fine, I'm fit. But when I'm super skinny, people treat me like a little girl, right? And literally I look like I could blow away. They don't treat me as an adult or take me seriously. So on the way up to gaining weight, there was a moment where I thought, you can't ignore me now, like, I'm here, I look like a football player, and there was something empowering about being that weight. But ultimately, because I am so small, I'm 5'3", you know, for me, just being, I have more energy. I feel better. I feel useful. I feel more healthy because, again, I never tried to look young. I think healthy living makes this a byproduct of healthy living is looking younger than one is, even for you. You look younger than you are.
When I lost a lot of weight 2 years ago and I got really thin, my friends were asking me, are you HIV positive?
No.
So They think you have AIDS.
He had a thyroid problem where
Right.
he lost like 50 pounds. Like,
Oh, wow.
through kind of like the same thing you did. He basically lost a year also. It took a year for him to figure it all out.
Right, and people were asking me if I had AIDS, and I thought, Jesus, isn't that terrible? Years ago, there was a saying, you're never thin enough or rich enough. Now, if you're too thin, they say, oh, I hope you spend your money fast.
Oh, no. Well, first of all, that wasn't very nice of them to assume that, and I'm sure that was very hard for you to go through. I think, again, that the sad thing about, like, health situations like that is most people don't really understand it or have empathy for it or take control of their own health until they go through something like what you went through. You know, or what I went through.
They add up their own math. It's gay plus thin equals AIDS.
Listen, I went through the same thing. I had a brother who passed away at 28 about 7 years ago, and if one more person asked me if he died of a fucking drug overdose, I will fucking punch them. Seriously, just because I'm fucking black does not mean... No, my brother passed of a seizure. He had epilepsy, so that's that. Because people like to assume it was a drug overdose. That's the number one thing out of their mouths. It's very rude.
Well, you know, it's stereotypical. If you're Jewish and you lose a lot of weight, they ask you, do you have a lover?
That's terrible.
Well, they don't bang their husbands, Jewish broads. You know that. They marry them.
No, they bang their husbands. They just don't blow them.
Well, no, they blow them when they date them as teenagers. Then, because my body of friends are more Jewish than anything else. I mean, I've got millions of Jewish friends that I'm crazy about, and I'm not doing that like the old cliche. Some of my best friends are. And we have a ton of black friends also that we love. Jimmy and I are very, very good. We don't have any kind of prejudice, thank God. I could never be married to a man that did. I mean, we have Wendy Moten, the singer, who I'm mad about. A lot of black stars. What about my love of my life, you know? BNGB I love. She's a gorgeous black girl. And my favorite...
Now you have Rachel True.
Wait, now she's going to be... she's going to be impressed with my most favorite is Kathy Sledge. I love Kathy from... Sister Sledge, the group, and I'm crazy about Kathy Sledge. She's my most favorite.
That was his most excited person he's ever, because we meet a lot of famous people, and that was who we got was the most excited about out of anybody. You know,
I mean, Jane Russell was my dearest friend in the world. I know Lauren Bacall. I know all the great movie legends.
Oh, wow.
And when I met Kathy Sledge for the first time, I was jumping up and down and hugging her and saying, oh, my God, I can't believe it. It's you. It's you. I love you. I love you.
Really tall women, too, those Sister Sledges, aren't they? They're like big, tall people.
Oh, they're not. Kathy Sledge is tiny.
Oh, she is? I thought they look really tall.
They just look
not at all.
All right.
She's probably your height.
I'm a short one. I'm also part Jew. My dad's family was Jewish. I got black. I got American Indian. I got all the oppression right here.
So you don't get blowjobs either.
Okay.
I have a very small mouth and a high palate, sir.
Okay, hang on one second, because it's 4:11, and our next caller is going to call in 4 minutes. First of all,
I want more of her.
We're going to have to bring you back, because we didn't even get to talk about any of the movie stuff or any of the cool stuff you've done. I'm sure you'll have something cool to promote, and we'll bring you back in the fall. But we want to tell everybody, number one, because I think it's really cool, you have another website, truehearttarot.com, that you're a 30-year tarot card reader, and that you have like a new residency or something coming up in L.A.
Yeah, I'm doing a residency at House of Intuition, which is, they've got 3 shops here in LA. They're a really great organization. I've done tarot for a long time. I approach it from a more Jungian perspective. I think the archetypes on the cards are really great at stirring people and helping them realize some patterns that are going on and maybe some choices they can make. That's it, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the devil. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's some cards that can kind of help break things down for you.
I've been into tarot cards since forever.
You have, so you know, there's nothing devilish about it. It's just another tool that maybe can save you a trip to the shrink.
Do you know the real reasoning why you tell people what you tell people from tarot cards? My Italian grandmother in Italy used to have a memory book, and she used to, a dream book, and she'd interpret her dreams. It's you feel the feelings you get about these people, and you're telling nothing to do with the cards. The cards are simply an instrument to get you to feel what you're feeling to tell these people. And yes, you can be psychic, and yes, you can tell the future. Sometimes, if you and your brain and the cards are working together,
Everyone has intuition. Every one of us can, if we zoom in and focus, has the capacity to be a little psychic or to intuit what's happening. We just are really clouded over for the most part, most of us, so we don't pick up on that energy, or we built up such a big wall. But yes, I believe in collective consciousness in a Patty Shyefsey kind of way, and basically we're all connected. And I like that these cards, it's another aspect, and it takes the focus off me. When I'm acting, it's all about me, 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 me. Sometimes it's nice to make it all about you and other people and the cards, and I feel like it's sort of life coaching, and I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, but it's you interpreting what you feel from the cards. The cards tell you, and they have something magical about them. They're cardboard.
Right.
And the symbols, the tower and everything is death. Is nothing to do with the cards. It's all about you and how you interpret what you're looking at. Now, my grandmother used to do it with olive oil and a drop in water over your head to see who was giving you the evil eye. All that kind of mystic shit really works, but it has nothing to do with the water or the olive oil. He's racing me off.
I gotta go.
First, let me make love to her. I love you. I love you. I love you.
No, I'm a very handsome man. If you weren't already taken, I might have to,
Well,
But
yeah.
I want to gross you out with vagina, so never mind.
I'm going to run into
No,
you.
he's been married. He's had snatch free. He was married for 16 years.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I had
so-
to do the job, as they said.
Hold on, everybody. So you guys, Rachel is on Twitter. Follow her at Rachel True, RACHELTRUE. Go to racheltrue.com for her website. Does that take you to all your other websites?
Yeah, racheltrue.com will take you to that. And on Instagram, I'm True Rachel True, because there's some little white girl who has my name, and I sent her a text saying, "You sure you want all these big black guys hitting you up for a date? Why don't you just give me my name back?" But she hasn't answered me yet.
She's
That's
probably not
because she
good,
dated a few of those black
That's
guys.
funny.
And
She's
she didn't give it up
She's
to those
picking up
guys.
your sloppy seconds, and she's loving it.
No.
And by the way, thanks guys so much for inviting me on, and thanks to the listeners out there. I got a bunch of new Instagram followers, and I just want to thank you guys so much. I actually do read the comments, even though I had a stalker, and I still have a 10-year restraining order in my purse from Twitter. So I'm not as talkative as I could be, but I'm getting better at it. So if you send me a tweet, I'll try to answer you.
There you go, everybody.
Terrific.
And anytime you have anything you want to promote, we would love to have you back and talk about also some of your films. Everybody make sure you see The Craft. It's the best witch film that's ever been made. I love it so much.
And Jimmy and I,
And-
we're moving to California as soon as we sell our house. So we should be out there in a couple of
And
months.
when we do, and we have our housewarming party, we're going to invite you.
I would hope so. I would hope so. I feel like we've got it going on now.
No, you know why? Because you always have to have a token black to every party. so you're.
You know what? I'm mixed, so I don't know if I fill your quota. You might need another mixed or a full black. I don't know. You work that out. You got some time to work that out.
Listen, you're going to be our token Jew and our token black.
Exactly.
This way we have a diversified party that's politically correct.
I thought you guys have Zach Ward on later, right?
I have a bunch of he's coming on now, and I know you.
Tell Zach I said hi. I've done 2 projects with him. He's a great guy, really great actor.
Actually, and you have another film you just finished called Limelight, and we've had Sean Kane. We just had Sean Kanan on. We've had him on a bunch of times because
We
just saw
love him. He's great.
Oh, awesome. I worked with Zach Ward on a film that James Cullen Brissac did, and he directed Limelight. So it's a very small, interconnected world.
And we get all you guys on our show. We want to thank you so much, Rachel. Take care of yourself. We'll be in touch, and if you ever want to have anything to promote, let us know, and otherwise we'll see you in social media.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Bye. Bye, honey.
Bye.
It's a talky, wild chick.
She's
I
awesome.
love her.
She's fabulous.